Hey guys, what's going on? We got a new hero pool, so I figured I'd cover this hero pool, get back into the swing of things with videos. I had been slacking a little bit. Eden was taking up pretty much all of my time, but I'm back and ready to go. Before we start this video, I do want to say that this will be kind of a new system that I'm doing. Before I was ranking the heroes, but now I'm going to be ranking them from 1 to 4. The reason for this is so you can't just say 1 to 5. You just pick 3 every time, basically, for all the heroes. 1 to 4 makes you really have to choose between 2 and 3. So that's kind of the 1 to 4 mentality. And then we will average out all those scores in the pool, normalize that out of 100, and then kind of give the ranking. And we will keep sort of a ranking chart of things, which I'll show you guys later. So anyway, let's just get into the pool right away. Boom. This is a Wrath quadruple pool. It's basically the exact opposite of Tracker. So every hero that wasn't in the last pool is now in this pool. Leaving out Wrath and Tracker. They're both in both pools. But anyway, Wrath has that 4 times probability. Basically, the number of tickets you need to max Wrath, statistically speaking, is about 1,000. So if you have less than 1,000, I actually wouldn't recommend going for this pool. I mean, unless you already have duplicates of Wrath from the previous one. If you have 2 duplicates or something, then obviously 500. If you have 3, 250, etc., etc. But there's a bunch of heroes, so if you just need like 1 copy of Cosher, don't go for this pool. Save your tickets and go for the smaller later pool. Anyway, let's talk about these heroes. Let's rank them. Let's get this pool a score, and let's get on with it. So Wrath, obviously take this information with a grain of salt. Haven't had a lot of time to test Wrath. I only have one copy. I only have skills 1 through 5. I'm not going for this pool. I only have 100 tickets, not 1,000 or 750 like I had said. So I'm not going for this pool. Anyway, I've done some research, gotten some help from a lot of folks. So thank you to everybody who sends me, messages and battle reports and things like that. I really appreciate it, including all my guildmates. Wrath is pretty damn good. So he's a support vehicle hero. He basically fits in the middle row, which means you're kind of competing with Organic, Heaven's Redemption. And that's basically it in Season X. Farseer, but not really. Basically just Heavens and Organic. Now, with that said, basically Wrath is all about this reflecting armor. I did do a video covering the 2 new heroes. So check it out in more detail, but essentially he's all about reflecting armor. Now I will say the combos that he goes well with are Gluttony, Wrath, Death Rider, Kamikaze, Wrath, Death Rider, and that's pretty much it in Season X for now. Like I said, grain of salt, but that's kind of about it. Anyway, those APCs are very, very strong. Now, you might be thinking, kind of weird if you know his 8th ability. His 8th ability, he reduces troop recovery for enemies and allies. So you wouldn't really suspect Gluttony to work that well with him. But the caveat here is starting on turn 4, he reduces enemy troop recovery significantly more by 15% per turn. And this effect stacks and lasts until the end of combat. So the enemy will basically have troop recovery block, complete troop recovery block by the end. And you won't. So Gluttony's healing comes on around turn 4, turn 5. And in that case, he won't have minus troop recovery. So it actually works really, really well with Gluttony. Same thing with Kamikaze. Minus 25% is not too much for Kamikaze because he's really only healing. He's basically healing every attack. So it adds up. And Kamikaze is basically just the best frontline vehicle hero, so pair him up. With that said, you basically need Death Rider, or at least a very strong damage dealer in the back line. So Countdown, Ivanov, kind of any of those heroes. Now, what I will say about Wrath is that he doesn't do too much damage. Barely does any, actually. So you don't really need to pair him with Vanguard or anything like that. It's basically Kamikaze. And if you can't use Kamikaze, a different frontline tank like Gluttony, for example. Could be Vanguard, but you're kind of wasting a little bit. Caesar would actually probably work better. So anyway, I'm going to give Wrath a 3 out of 4. Basically meaning you should go for him. So he's definitely worth it. He's going to kind of be in some of the meta APCs. Most likely, again, grain of salt. But he's not someone who you force. So I'm not going to be buying tickets and really, really forcing getting him. He's not going to bring your APC from like weak to strong. He kind of needs to be paired with strong heroes to kind of accelerate them even more. So that's why he's getting a 3. And that'll sort of be the system that I'm working off of from here. So let's check out Tracker. Tracker's a support archer hero, kind of similar to Wrath. She fits in the middle line, and she basically needs strong damage dealers in the back row. So her whole thing, she has 2 main things basically. One is that she increases the cast chance of her allies' skills, and then the other is that she gives the back row unit an extra attack. Now again, like I said, I'm covering these in more detail in another video, so check that out. I'll leave it in the description for you guys. And if you are still a little bit confused, let me know and I can kind of try to explain things further. So the immediate combo that everybody knows and everybody talks about is Nomad. Nomad does everything based on basic attacks, and she obviously pairs very well with Nomad. No surprise there. The combos for Tracker are basically Cosher, Tracker, Nomad, Hunk, Tracker, Nomad. I know you might think, okay, you're crazy, but no. Hunk's 5th ability is a Confuse. It's a 30% Confuse for 2 turns. If she boosts that by 10 or 30%, it's a lot. You're confusing almost every single turn. 60% every turn, but it lasts for 2 turns, so it's basically every single turn on turn 5 if it gets on Hunk. Anyway, those combos, TP, Tracker, Nomad, great. Tracker pairs fairly well with Death Rider as well, but I wouldn't kind of split that up. Death Rider works a little bit better in some other APCs, so there's no real reason to put him with Tracker. So I would basically just say Nomad. Ivanov's okay. Hummingbird is okay. So if you have those heroes, go for it. Obviously, Countdown's going to be terrible. But those are kind of the heroes that you can pair with Tracker. Cosher in the front line, you can pair Rose with Tracker pretty well. Yeah, TP, Hunk, etc. She kind of pairs well with sort of a lot of heroes, but she's not like amazing. She's not going to be like the very, very top APCs just busting through everybody so far. So again, with Tracker, whoops, I did not mean to exit completely. Forgive me. With Tracker, I'm also giving her a 3. Again, if you have weak APCs and you get her, you're not going to be that much stronger. But if you have strong APCs, she's going to make those APCs even stronger yet. So let's move on to Rose. Now, Rose is an interesting hero. She's all about basic attacks. I don't even really have to go over her skills. I'll try to keep this short and sweet for you guys. But she's, again, all about basic attacks. So kind of the same heroes. Tracker, Cosher, Nomad, all sort of pair well with Rose. Even someone like Iron Sentinel can pair pretty well because he has some sort of splash damage effect. So basic attacks are, parts of him. Patriot, but Patriot's terrible. Kind of these type of heroes pair well with Rose. With that said, though, Rose isn't amazing. I'm actually going to give her a 2, meaning don't really force it. Don't really go for her if you don't have to, or like if you don't want to, more so. But she's really not going to elevate your base that much more. If you're a super max base and you need a 5th APC, she fits really well in there. But she shouldn't be in your main APC. So that's kind of Rose. Now let's talk about Canoness. Canoness is a support fighter hero. She goes well in the front row or in the middle row. And she's basically just all about heals, 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 heals. She also has a decent suppress. So her 5th ability is a 70% chance for suppression. This can go fairly well with Tracker. So you can do Canoness, Tracker, Nomad, or Canoness, Tracker, Bird, or anything like that as well. It'll be okay. Anyway, don't really have to go over her too much. I have another video on her as well if you want to check it out. But I'm also giving her a 2. She's not sort of in the top APCs, but she is in some very, very good APCs, like 9.5 out of 10. And she does very, very well. But once you sort of get other better heroes, she kind of just falls down. So this was one of the ones where I would have gone 2 or 3. 3 is fitting for her, but she just kind of doesn't really have a place in many of the top APCs. So that's kind of why I put her at a 2. Now let's talk about Kamikaze. So Kamikaze is a frontline defense vehicle hero. He heals a ton, right? Like he heals himself basically every single turn. He doesn't take that much damage. He has a nice counterattack, etc. He's just a beefy tank. Kamikaze is the best frontline vehicle tank in the game. Kamikaze gets a 4. He's very, very good. Even if you have basic orange heroes or no Season X heroes, Kamikaze will turn your APC up a notch significantly. He's just that good. He kind of pairs well with any vehicle hero. He even pairs well with Hummingbird. He pairs well with Tech Priestess. He pairs well with a lot of heroes. So he gets a 4. Now, I'm going over this pretty quickly because there's a lot of heroes in here. So if you want a more in-depth breakdown, let me know. Now let's move on to Cosher. Cosher is a basically frontline archer hero. He can go in the front line or in the middle if you have like Deus Ex or Iron Sentinel or somebody like that in the front. But he's kind of all about basic attacks. He pretty much just gives people more basic attacks. And then everything sort of works off of these basic attacks. So he's kind of niche. He really has to pair with either Rose or Nomad to really do anything. Otherwise, he's not that good. So for Cosher, I'm going to give him a 2 as well. He's decent. So if you get him, you shouldn't be upset. You'll probably use him, but you won't be using him in like the top APCs. Whoops. Taking a little drink of water. Now let's move on to Death Rider. My guy, my favorite hero, everybody's favorite hero, Death Rider. Death Rider does damage. Damage. He does a lot of damage. He also has decent CC. Not that good though. People think he's bugged, but he's not. So it's a 40% chance with a 1-turn prep, which isn't that good. You don't want prep skills, but usually it means they're good. But anyway, a 40% chance, and then it's a 60% chance. Basically meaning it's a 25% chance of suppressing. Not that strong. It could happen once a game. Could happen twice, but it's not guaranteed. So that's basically Death Rider. He just does so much damage. He's immune to CC, so he's always going to be doing damage. He just buffs himself a ton. He has a crazy stat right here. This 300 increased demolition power, so he's great in Doomsday, and he's great in base-to-base combat. 20 instead of 15. He just does it all. I basically recommend, like, to anybody who's just getting into Season X, focus on Death Rider. That's pretty much as simple as this. Focus on Death Rider, focus on Nomad, and you'll be good to go. So what do you guys think he's going to get? A 1. Just kidding. Obviously a 4. He will literally make any APC good. Doesn't matter. Could be purple heroes. He'll make it good. So let's move on to Iron Sentinel. Iron Sentinel's a big beefy boy. Kind of means you know where he's going. Frontline fighter hero. He's weird. So his skills are pretty in depth. And he's not like that good. But he is used in a couple combos. So he basically just buffs and debuffs everybody all of the time. And he has this weird sort of splash status effect that some people are experimenting with. So the interesting thing about Iron Sentinel is he might actually be pretty good. So one of the viewers, Mubian Ironhide, has sent me a battle report of him just doing work with Iron Sentinel. Iron Sentinel Canon S Nomad, and it actually looks pretty damn good. With the splashing effect on basic attacks, Nomad just goes really well with him. So I actually think an interesting combo with Iron Sentinel is Iron Sentinel Betrayed Rose. Again, it's kind of about the basic attacks, and Betrayed is going to buff himself or Rose. So I actually kind of like that combo, but it's not a top meta APC. And I'm not totally sold on Iron Sentinel, Canon S, Nomad, because you are splitting Nomad. But anyway, I give him a 2 because of that reason. You basically need Nomad for him to be worth really anything. He's okay in some fighter APCs, like, Iron, Canon, Lone Wolf, for example. That's okay. It's not terrible. Iron Sentinel, Venom Walker, it's okay. But he's not really like amazing. He's not going to turn your APC upside down and win everything. So he gets a 2. Now let's move on to Betrayed. So Betrayed is interesting. He used to be pretty bad, but they did buff him. They kind of fixed him. And he's pretty interesting. He's inconsistent because of his 8th skill. I think if it always gave him might or tactical might increase by 60%, he'd be very good. So if it was like focused, right? If he just had one buff that he always got, I think he would be better. But it's kind of hard to play with him because if he had damage taken decreased by 40%, you could put him in the front line. If he had tactical might increased by 60% always, you could basically just put him in the back line and you'd be good to go from there. So with that said, though, Betrayed isn't really used in any meta APC at the moment at all, really. If you have him again, he's going to be pretty decent in the middle or even in the back row. But other heroes just basically outshine him. So unfortunately, Betrayed gets a 2 as well. If you have him, use him. Unless you're obviously like kind of, above his pay grade, I guess. So let's move on to Crusher. Crusher is interesting. He's a frontline hero, a frontline vehicle hero. He basically just heals himself a lot, and that's kind of it. Unfortunately, I give Crusher a 1. He's not really a hero that you need. With Wrath, with Gluttony, with all of the tanks, Tech Priestess, everything like that, you don't really need Crusher. I honestly probably should have given him a 2. But it'd more be like a 1.5. And I felt like I was just giving everybody 2s. So I'm sorry, Crusher, but you got a 1. If you get him, it's okay. You can use him in the front row, but if you have anybody else in the front row, he's going to do worse. Is pretty much all there is to it. Not anybody else, but any Season X hero in the front row. I probably should give him a 2, though, but we're keeping him at 1. Now, Sven. Let's talk about Sven. He sucks at attacking bases. He's terrible at attacking bases. A 1 for sure. But he is basically needed in Doomsday. Not needed, but he's the best hero for Doomsday, for tiling. So we're giving Sven a 3. Crazy, right? Normally people would give him a 1 or F tier or whatever it may be. But no, we're giving Sven a 3. The reason for this is all about Doomsday. So if you don't give a shnikes about Doomsday, then he's a 1 for sure. Guaranteed. If you just need your base to be more powerful, if you need, if you're going to beat every kill event or whatever it may be, you need to defend your launch centers, you're the guardian for destroyer missiles, then Sven sucks. Don't go for Sven. But otherwise, go for Sven. I picked him up at the token shop. I know, 3,000 tokens for Sven, but yes, it's worth it. So do it if you want. You don't have to, but yes. And I talk about him a lot in my Eden stuff and in my live streams. I basically use him all the time for forcing tiles. So that's about it. Sven gets a 3. Crusher is a 1 or a 2. 1.5, but we're giving him a 1. Betrayed is 2. Iron Sentinel 2. Death Rider, obviously a 4. Cosher at 2. Kamikaze again a 4. Canon S a 2 or a 3. But I kind of went lower, more conservative, 2 on Canon S. Rose is a 2. Wrath and Tracker are both 3s, but take them with a grain of salt. They could range from 2 to 4. They're definitely not 1s. They're good. So anyway, that's about it, guys. Some of these scores could have been tweaked slightly. Really, like I said, Canon S could be a 3. Crusher could be a 2. But that's about it. Sven, I guess, could be a 2 because he sucks at bases, but he's really good at Eden. So potato to potato. Wow, that was terrible. Anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts. Basically, this pool, it comes out to about a score of 64, which is actually decent. So this one has a little bit more, basically because it has Kamikaze and Death Rider really just carrying this pool. Like I said before, the last one was 57. The previous one from last week. I will say, coming up, the pools might be better. They might be getting a little bit better. So we'll see. So if you don't have 1,000 tickets, like I said, don't go for this pool. You're gonna end up with a lot of 1 copy heroes or 2 copy heroes, which you don't want. So save up your tickets, guys. Go for this pool if you're a big spender, or you have a lot of tickets saved up, like 1,000 or something. Then go for this pool. Do not go for this pool to chase any of the seasonal recruitment heroes like Death Rider or Kamikaze or anything like that. You might not even get them. I didn't get a single Nomad. That's all I wanted last pool. Well, besides Tracker, didn't get a single one. Hit 1,000. So up to you guys, but that's my recommendation. Anyway, hope this helps you out. You have about a week to pull these heroes. Yep, pretty much exactly a week. So do so if you want, or don't. If you don't, let me know. You guys can tell me, I have 1,200 tickets. I have these heroes with these skills, and I'll help you out from there. Before I go, I just want to say, every kill event, basically, I do a live stream for kind of as long as we go. Could be an hour, could be 5, could be whatever. I highly recommend tuning into those if you guys like the content, and if you're awake at that time, or you have time to watch. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of pretty good community group of people all coming together, share a lot of tips during those, and get a lot of info there. So those recordings are posted on YouTube, but if you guys wanted to stop in, it's basically every single kill event right when it starts at 7 or 7 reset, or reset plus 30 minutes. So other than that, I just want to thank you guys for all the support, for watching this video, for getting this far. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, fantastic morning, fantastic evening. Whenever you're watching this video, if you guys are sad or upset or something's wrong, you can always reach out to me. Do whatever. If you guys have questions in the game, always reach out to me. I'm gonna start dropping my socials in the descriptions, so you guys can reach me on Discord, on Instagram, on in-game, whatever it may be. And I will try my best to reply as quickly as I can. Anyway, guys, that's about it. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more